Welcome to Show Me Something Wrong,
where each episode one of us chooses a movie to watch that the other hasn't seen. The movie is often obscure, usually odd, and always wrong.
I'm Dave.
And I'm Guy, and today I've chosen the movie, and it is Hellroller.
Well, this is going to be a very vocal fry episode, I guess, because we're both suffering from horrible hay fever.
The pollen count is off the roof
Off
in
the
Japan.
fucking charts.
We're in level red.
Is that a thing?
It is. It's the highest level at the moment.
Fuck, yeah.
So everyone's walking around, scratchy throats, itchy eyes, fucking blotchy.
Yeah.
We're all blotchy.
My whole body is itchy
Right.
now. It's fucking awful.
Yeah.
This is nuts. You know, before I lived in Japan, I never got hay fever. And I started getting it maybe last year or the year before in kind of small amounts. And when I first got it, I remember being like, what the fuck is this? And I thought it was coronavirus, but I got a test and it wasn't.
You
and
got coronavirus or hay fever.
Yeah. But, you know, there's like similar kind of symptoms, right? So
I do feel like
I was getting intense headaches and a scratchy throat. And I was describing the symptoms to my coworker, and she's like, that's hay fever. You got hay fever. Didn't know it was something that you could develop over time.
This is the first time I've ever had it.
Oh, it's nuts.
I don't know about you, Dave, but I'm feeling a little bit like Eugene from Hellroller.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm just hating everyone.
Yeah.
I've got a bad attitude. I'm not feeling peachy, I'll tell you that.
You should do a sequel to Sound of Summer where it's set in spring, but it's hay fever, and there's a hay fever guy, like villain.
Fucking sneezing on him. Turns into a spore. So fucking hell, right, Hellroller, here we go. This is from 1992. Now, before we get into any of all the lovely little tidbits I've gathered along
Did
my
you say titbits?
tidbits, bits of tits. We got the greatest tagline for a movie ever, and
What's
it
the
is,
tagline? I didn't see it.
he's got a wheelchair and an attitude. He's turning the streets of LA into a morgue. Which is great. Absolutely loved it. So this here is a co-directed effort between Gary J. Levinson and Stuart Wall, although that does change at some point.
What do you mean?
I'll get into it.
Okay.
But this was created by the two of those people. So Gary J. Levinson, he's the kind of the main director in this, and he has just one other directing credit, which is a short film called Beast from 2005, which also has an absolutely banging tagline, which is, there's a satanic flesh-eating killer on a rampage. The only one who may be able to stop him is a one-armed lady cop with a big gun and a bigger grudge.
Fucking hell.
Doesn't that sound amazing?
Lady cop as well.
A one-armed lady cop.
What the fuck?
Doesn't that just sound amazing?
That's great.
Called Beast, and that's from 2005.
Oh, okay.
So he made this in 92 and didn't direct anything else until 2005.
Wow. Took him a long time to come up with that short film.
However, he does have a few producer credits. And
His name was familiar to me, but is there anything I would know that he produced? Okay.
so he produced Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers
Okay.
and Cannibal Hookers. He likes hookers.
Okay.
It's really funny because every single person involved in this production has some sort of like connection with another film. Like there's like same directors, same stars, same producers. Everyone is kind of, it's like this weird little mesh where everyone is connected in some way. And Cannibal Hookers comes up a lot.
There's even a connection in this film to a film we've previously talked about. I was wondering if you've picked that up or not. If not, we can get to it when we get to it.
Trying to think. I kind of went into a frenzy of researching things.
Yeah.
You'll remind me, I'm sure. The other guy involved in this, Stuart Wall, on the other hand, has no other directing credits. And apparently before Hellroller, he made a living by selling VHS tapes.
Okay.
Like,
just blank tapes?
Like, no, apparently he was... I don't know. I'm not sure exactly where or how, but he mentioned selling things like Faces of Death and Mark of the Devil, and
Right.
I don't know by what means. Now, the two directors met through a mutual friend and director Donald Farmer.
Ah, okay.
Now, you know Donald Farmer?
Oh, of course, yeah. I actually know... So my old website, Mondo Explodo, one of the regular writers on that, Caroline, she has worked with Donald Farmer multiple times. They've actually co-directed stuff together. Yeah,
that's mad.
Donald Farmer did Cannibal Hookers, right? That's him, I think.
Yes, yeah.
And what's it? I've forgotten. His most well-known film is so great. I forgot.
So,
is it Devil Queen?
Demon Queen.
Demon Queen. Yeah. Oh my god, that film is great. Have you seen that? It's.
I know Massacre
great.
put it. They re-released it, didn't they?
It's legitimately.
I don't think I've seen that.
Fantastic.
Actually.
It's such a good shot-on-video film. Definitely see that if you've not. Yeah, it's great.
So yeah, he did Demon Queen, Savage Vengeance, the unofficial sequel to I Spit in Your Grave.
Yeah, with the actress, right?
In a reprising role, who refuses to talk about that anymore. And more recently, Catnado.
Catnado?
Yeah,
okay.
He made a film called Catnado.
Did he... I'm sorry, I don't know if you've looked up all this stuff, but I feel like he recently did Shark Exorcist as well.
I think he did. Yes, he did. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like the last thing I remember seeing by him when I looked him up.
That has a rating on Letterboxd of 1. And it has been rated by 3.5 thousand people.
Wow, that's really
and it has a solid 1. 1,700 people have rated it half a star. How fucking mad is that?
Yeah, I feel like the other thing he did recently that I've not seen but I really want to see is a remake he did of his own film Cannibal Hookers.
Right.
Which he co-directed with Caroline, who used to write for the website.
What was the name of that remake?
The remake, I think, is just called Cannibal Hookers.
Right.
But I think they also co-directed another one called Hooker with a Hacksaw, but...
I think that name gets brought up quite a lot, actually.
I could be wrong. Maybe she just helped on that. Does that ring a bell? Hooker with a Hacksaw?
You know, there's so many films by this guy with the word hooker in it.
Yeah, Hooker with a Hacksaw, yeah. She didn't co-direct that, but I think she worked on that as well. But yeah, Donald Farmer is a very familiar name. He's like a real legend of shot-on-video horror.
So the two came together by Donald Farmer, and Gary, the primary director, he wanted to call the film Scumbag. And then Stuart came up with the idea Hellroller, and also the premise of the film. And it was the world's first serial killer in a wheelchair who gets even with all the beautiful people in a society for not giving him the time of day for being a cripple. This is an extremely un-PC episode, by the way. A lot of stuff that comes up is pretty wrong.
Oh, definitely, yes.
But Gary took over writing the script, and that is how it came to be the film that was made. So Hellroller 92, directed by Gary J. Levinson and Stuart Hill. Now, for a film this ridiculous about a serial killer in a wheelchair wanting to get revenge on people for being beautiful, it has a extremely impressive cast.
Yeah,
it's insane who is in this.
I gotta say, this is the only time I know that when we watch something, if you've recommended the film, I don't read anything up about it. This is a time where I'm like, I have to fucking double check who someone is, because I'm sure we'll get into it in more detail later, but there is an actress in this that when I saw her, I'm like, what the fuck is she doing in this fucking movie? But then she's credited under a different name. So I was just like, no, but it's her. It's definitely her. And I just had to confirm it for myself. And look up that actress afterwards. But I'm sure we'll end up talking about her.
So we're going to go through the various people that pop up and their other, productions, what they're known for as they come and go. But it is quite an insane cast. But before we get into the story, I don't know if you saw the DVD artwork or the VHS artwork when this was released, but the VHS box's claim to fame, if you will, I don't think this ever got famous, but is the special effects are by the creator of Evil Dead 2 and Luther the Geek.
Wait, What do you mean?
That's what it says. The back of the VHS box says
by the creator.
Yeah.
The effects creator, or
it just says special effects by the creator of Evil Dead 2 and Luther the Geek.
So who the fuck is that?
So obviously not the creator.
Not Sam Raimi.
No. But upon doing some digging, I found a name, Mike Tristano, and he has a website called Movie Gun Guy. And his whole thing is he sells and rents gun props to movie productions.
Right.
So he's like the weapons guy. So if you go onto his IMDb, there's just hundreds of different credits with Sam Raimi and various people, and it's just like gun handler, special effects guy. But apparently he's the creator of Evil Dead 2 and Luther the Geek.
That kind of reminds me of in Australia, there's like one guy who's the gun guy for movies. So I've totally forgot his name, but he worked on my like student film production, and like literally anytime any person that needs a gun, no matter what the size of the film, you get in touch with this particular armorer. Because there seems to be just the one in Australia.
Seriously?
And he came along and he brought a big fucking shotgun. And he's like, he's got his squibs and everything. But if you look at his credits, he's got hundreds of credits. He's worked on like the fucking Matrix and stuff. That was shot in Australia.
God.
So basically, he's worked on everything from my piece of shit student film to the fucking Matrix.
No way. That's
so I guess it's like such an obscure job. Like
I guess so.
You can have a guy like this guy that you've mentioned, Tristano, who's worked on Evil Dead 2 and Hellroller.
Yeah. But he's I was looking at his page and he's got so many ridiculous credits. But he was saying like, you know, he worked under his mentor, Robert Corman or something.
Right. Roger Corman.
Yeah, Roger Corman. So that's Robert fucking hell. Anyway, so he is a self-proclaimed, nearly legendary figure in the world of B-movies.
Nearly legendary. Okay.
So yeah, on his website, it says, like, he has his about him, and it's like, a nearly legendary figure in the world of B-movies and motion pictures, all that stuff. If you go onto his IMDb, it says the same thing, but before that, it says something like, although he doesn't like to admit it, he is a nearly legendary.
But yeah, clearly
it's on his fucking website. So, looking through his IMDb, although he does have the credits of Evil Dead 2 and Luther the Geek on his page, he was uncredited. But here he is the sales point of Hellroller.
He is the creator.
The creator.
Of Evil Dead 2. Step aside, Raimi. Wasn't you, mate. You're not the fucking creator.
It's bloody Mike Tristano. Mike Tristano's Army of Darkness.
It's the new Blu-ray edition.
Oh, God. More squibs.
The Mike Tristano cut.
So let's get into the story. So this is one of the greatest openings ever.
Is it?
Ever.
Do you mean the title sequence?
Oh no,
because the title
you
sequence.
did the titles.
I mean, they are hideous titles with this hideous writing that comes up and a little animated figure in a wheelchair screen wiping each title, but it was like not quite clear. I'm like, is that meant to be? It has to be someone in a wheelchair, I guess, but it looks so shit that I had to pause it to try and work out what it was. But there was a name in the titles that made me quite excited. I don't know if you want to talk about it now, but when Michelle Bauer's name, I don't know how to pronounce her name, Michelle Bauer.
Yeah.
We have talked about her before.
Have we? In what production was
she is in Night Dreams. Do you remember when we were talking about Night Dreams way back?
Oh my God.
Whatever episode that was. Maybe like 10 episodes ago or something. Do you remember I was saying when we were watching, there's a hell scene in Night Dreams, and there was a woman chained up.
Oh, yeah.
And when
is that the one who's like, rim her ass? Is
that's
that
right, yeah. And when I watched that, I'm like, I know who she is. She's like a very well-known B-movie actress. So yeah, that is Michelle Bauer. So when I saw her, I'm like, holy shit, we've got a connection with Night Dreams. Like, who would have thought that? So yeah, that was one name that really took me by surprise in the opening titles. She is really slumming it in this fucking movie.
Fucking hell. But there is a fantastic reason as to why she is in here as well.
That's great. I'm looking forward to hearing that. So we've just had those awful titles.
Beautiful stuff. we cut to the opening scene of a woman pushing a man in a wheelchair, except it's not even a wheelchair.
Yeah, what the fuck?
It's like a fucking Wiccan chair.
Wicker wheelchair kind of thing.
And
he's wheeling a trolley as well.
He's wheeling a trolley. And do you hear what he's like shouting out?
He's like yelling, handicap.
Like, watch out, handicap here. Watch out, handicap.
Handicap, watch out, handicap.
So he's pushing himself in this weird, like, handmade wheelchair made out of a wicker chair, and he's being pushed by a lady who is billed as Penny Arcade.
Yeah, so not straight away, but a little bit after the scene, when I was looking at her, I'm like, wait, no. No.
Do you want to get into it?
Because I just think, though, like, before we really dive into who she is, we really have to establish how fucking shit this movie is. Like, this is bottom of the fucking barrel. Like, this is beyond, like, shot on video garbage. Like, this is shit. This is garbage. Like, this is so cheap and awful, and it genuinely feels like someone's mentally unwell uncle, like, was given a fucking camera and got, like, people break the fourth wall constantly, like, looking at the camera. It's just, there's something deeply wrong and cheap about this film. So when I noticed who she was, it absolutely blew my fucking mind, because I didn't see her name in the titles, because as
she's
you said,
not in it. Yeah,
she's credited as Penny Arcade, but she is the mother of, or the aunt of this wheelchair character is played by Mary Woronov, who is an absolute legend. Probably, I guess, most famous for being in Eating Raoul by Paul Bartel. And, you know, I love her. Like, she's such a fantastic cult kind of actress. And, like, what is she doing in this? And also, what made it extra confusing is, so I just had to check that it was definitely her afterwards. Because I'm like, is it just a lookalike, even though it sounds exactly like her? But when I looked up the film afterwards, I was kind of confused, because there's also a performance artist in New York called Penny Arcade, who's about the same age. And some reviews are like, oh, it's performance artist Penny Arcade, but it's not.
No,
it is her. It is Mary Woronov,
100%,
with, you know, using a pseudonym, because she's obviously very upset about being in this film, I would imagine.
I wish I had the answer as to why.
I was really hoping you knew why.
I searched and I just looked and I searched, but she's so prolific. She has so many fantastic cult titles to her name. You know, she works with Andy Warhol, Roger Corman. She's done everything.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if you search Mary Woronov and Hellroller, nothing comes up.
Well, how did she end up in this?
know.
It's crazy.
I don't know.
It is so nuts.
All the other, like, the Scream Queen actresses, there is a reason why they're in there, and I can tell you that, and I'll get that into that at the end of the podcast.
Right.
But yeah.
Bonkers
that she is in this, as you said, piece of shit trash movie. Like I said, this is bottom of the barrel.
It's beyond the bottom of the barrel. I really can't stress how, like, dog shit this film is. Like, I watch a lot of shot on video trash, and this is one of the most inept things I've ever seen. Like, scenes that she's in, there are jump cuts within the scene, because they obviously they only got it in one take, and then had to edit it around. Like that, it's terrible. And she's in this. It's crazy. What about the guy playing Eugene, the wheelchair guy? Do you know much about him?
Yeah, so the guy playing Eugene, Ron Littman, is the actor. He's got one other title to his name, which is Maximum Breakout by Tracy Lynch Britton. Just seems like a ridiculous action revenge film. Right. But yeah, he's... You know, for a film, this shit, I actually really liked his performance. I thought he was awesome.
He does give it his all. And there are actually a couple of performances in this I did quite enjoy. And his is one of them. Yeah.
So you got Mary Woronov, or Penny Arcade, pushing our Hellroller, Eugene, played by Ron Littman, as he's pushing a shopping cart. And they're kind of going, like, dumpster diving, looking for food. And on the streets of LA, they're surrounded by bums, which is a word that comes up a lot. Sorry. I mean, I should say they're homeless, or there's a new PC word for it. It's like house deprived or something. Something ridiculous.
Yeah,
I swear there's a new word for it.
I can't remember though.
But the word bum comes up in this so often. So there's lots of homeless people, and they're kind of pushing their trolleys and wheelchairs through these like slums of LA looking for food. He's kind of shouting out, "Watch out, handicap here, handicap coming through." And they kind of catch the eyes of two other casted as bums who start to menacingly follow them.
I wrote them down as Bald and Beard.
Okay, well, Bald and Beard are also actually, well, not necessarily bald, but Beard is a guy.
Yeah. His name seemed familiar. It's like Johnny something. Is it Johnny Legend?
Yeah, Johnny Legend.
Could you remind me who he is? I will
get into him. So, but before that, we have the opening conversation between Eugene and who we think is Eugene's mum, played by Warrenoff. So he's like, "Oh, sometimes I wonder if you're my real mum." And she said, "Of course I am. Why would I be hanging out with something like you?"
Sometimes I wonder if you're my real mother.
Of course I am. Why would I be hanging around something like you?
You mean something like you? What's that supposed to mean?
He's kind of this guy who's really bitter at the world for being in a wheelchair and having people like spoken down to him, and
he's extremely angry, and also kind of like he says a lot about his mental state as well. He's like, I have nightmares even when I'm not asleep. Which I thought was a fun line.
And this fucking mum says, "Oh, you know, I should have aborted you and just bought a cat." Like, just says all this, like, everyone just says all these horrible things to him, so no wonder he's a fucking mess. But apparently his mum knows something, but she's not telling him. And she's like, "No, just drop it. But he keeps pressuring her. And then, just out of nowhere, just like so sudden, she's like, "All right, I'm not your mother. Your mother was gang raped in an alley. When they couldn't get her to do what they wanted, they took it out on you." Which is his whole backstory. Yeah, I guess he was beaten and became a cripple from these guys who gang raped his mum. And so he's kind of like, he doesn't really remember it, but he has like these kind of lingering memories where he knows something happened, he knows something is wrong. His mum is not his aunt. But then we get the flashback.
Yeah, the flashback is so haphazard.
It's like some weird fucking funky jazz playing. A real turn of mood.
Yeah.
And his mum is walking through a car park. She is one of many scream queens in this production. So she is played by Ruth Collins. Ruth Collins is in Doom Asylum, Psychos in Love, among others. And she gets sneaked up from behind. Not just by your average rapist.
No.
So it's a Siamese twin type deal.
Yeah.
But it's like they got two people stuffed into one set of clothes with two of their heads poking out. Like, it's the most ridiculous comical shit you've ever seen. It's like trying to pass off, you know, you got that sketch like the long coat guy, two kids on the shoulders trying to sneak into movie theater. It's so ridiculous. But it's actually played by two Siamese twins.
Really?
Yeah. Well, wait. I can only assume because they have the same last name.
But they're probably
or maybe they're fucking brothers.
They're probably just brothers. I doubt they're Siamese.
They're probably Siamese. No, they're probably brothers. Or twins.
I love that was your assumption. Well, they're brothers. They must be actual Siamese twins. I mean,
that was a real thing. It's not that I didn't see like their middle arms poking out from under their shirt all the time. But
you can see their arms wrapped around each other as well. It's very funny.
So they approach the mum. And they go to attack her, and they see her body, and do you remember what they said? It's the most ridiculous.
I can't remember.
It's so fucking cheap and just shit. Everything is shit in this film. And they're like, wow, they say in unison, wow, what a set of bazooms.
Wow! What a set of bazooms!
Like, it's just ridiculously comical.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, for $100, you can just do more than look. And they said, no, we don't pay for it. We're just going to take it. And then they it's like, fuck her. And it kind of fades back to reality.
But you missed that she's got the baby in her arms and she drops her baby. Which, to be fair...
You know what? I didn't even notice the baby.
Mate, I didn't notice it either. But then when I finished the movie, I'm like, wait, so how did that event cripple him? And then I rewatched it. And when you watch it, it's so shitfully done, but she's walking with a baby.
I didn't even notice that.
And then when they approach her, she goes, ugh, and drops the baby. Yeah, so the first time I watched it, I also didn't see it, and I'm like, wait, was she supposed to be pregnant? And that's
what I thought.
Yeah, but no, she's actually carrying the baby.
God.
But no, I totally understand why you missed it, because I did too, and I went back and just rewatched it.
Oh my God. I'm glad you told me, because I would never have guessed that, and I didn't want to watch this a third time. So they overpower her. We don't see the rape, but it cuts back to reality. And now we know it was the auntie. She's like, they cut her throat from ear to ear and left you as a cripple. And then you get one of many Eugene's kind of like insane, rage-filled speeches. And he's like, I get so pissed off, so filled with hate, I just want to kill someone.
I just get so pissed off, and I just get so filled with hate. See, I start to twitch, and I feel like I want to kill somebody, anybody, somebody who can walk, somebody who's beautiful, somebody who's got a lot of money. I just want to kill him. I don't know how much longer I can take it. I'm gonna start to fight back.
When they fight back, they end up dead.
Yeah, but I'm a man, and if I'm gonna die a man.
And then he just starts fucking twitching and convulsing. This is this theme that then starts. So when he thinks of people with the ability to walk and the people who look good, who are people who like have a life better than him, he just gets so angry and just starts twitching in his wheelchair. And it's actually quite amazing.
Yeah, he does a good job in this role.
So we cut back to the two bums from before.
Bald and Beard.
So Bald, played by Eric Caden, he was in Cannibal Hookers.
Okay.
Another one. This is going to come up so many times, Cannibal Hookers. The other guy, Johnny Legend, he was in Man on the Moon.
Yeah, he
Bride of Reanimator and stuff. So
his name is really familiar. Yeah.
He comes up quite a lot.
Is he a musician or something? I feel like there's something... I don't know. His name is super, super familiar to me. Well, write in and tell us. But this scene of these two guys is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
So they're like talking about what they're going to do to Eugene's aunt, basically. And it's kind of like an Abbott and Costello who's on first kind of routine. But they're like, all right, we're going to rob, rape, and kill, just like always. It's like, wait, what do we do first? We rape first or we kill first? And it just goes back and forth with like the bald one just being like, wait, could you write it down for me? Yeah. And it goes for ages. And at this point, I was like, fuck this movie.
That scene is so painful to get through because they're both
torture.
like facing the camera and like talking to each other. It's like some weird stand-up sketch. And he's like, "Stupid, you can read and I can write. What good is writing it down gonna be?" Like, it's so fucking painful to get through. Yeah, I totally get your hatred for this.
At the same time, it was also like, I can't believe someone filmed this. And it kind of made me happy that someone did.
So now the aunt is on a rooftop. A rooftop that appears relentlessly. I feel like they filmed the entire film on the same rooftop.
There's a lot of rooftop.
Yeah.
A lot of rooftop.
And she gets approached by the bums, and she's like, "What do you gentlemen want?" And he's like, "We want to rob, rape, and kill you." And then she's like, "Fuck you!" She gets really like, "Fuck you!" And like she runs away.
We want to rob, rape, and kill.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
They chase her down, and Harry. Did you get what he said?
No, what did he say?
He's kind of great. I love his performance in this. He
This
gets
is Johnny-
really
this is Johnny Legend.
He gets really because he's got a really kind of like nasally voice in this.
Yeah.
And he comes up to the camera real close and he goes, "Oh, it's dying time, and then some." And then like we kind of get this weird fucking red flash on the screen. There's loads of shitty filters all the way through this film.
So many shitty filters.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
we
God.
never really see much blood or killing
No.
for a film that is about a killing rampage.
And especially a film that is from the creator of Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, you would expect some fucking special effects or some shit, but no, it's all filters.
I got
color filters.
Also, that last scene that we have Warren of, and she is so good in that scene. I fucking love her. She's so funny.
Fuck you, get away from me, get away!
Like when she's like running away, it's like so over the top and comical. Yeah, it was a delight to see her in this film, even though she only has about 5 minutes of screen time.
Yeah, unfortunately, the film just goes down further down, real downhill from here. It's like she is the pride. This is the best thing about this film.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she goes pretty early on.
Well, yeah, it goes straight into some utter fucking madness after this. So we've just seen, or not seen, Warrenov get killed. And then we just cut to a sort of street evangelist kind of guy rambling about chocolates and Jesus and...
He says Jesus is like an Oreo cookie.
Yeah.
He says one side chocolate is the Holy Father. The other side chocolate is the Holy Son. And the cream in the middle is the Holy Spirit that binds them all together.
Your delivery was much better than his.
If only I was not 3 when this was made, I would have been the street preacher.
Oh, God. And then that seems to have nothing to do with anything.
There's so many scenes that are pointless.
Street preacher guy. And then we see Eugene outside at night. He doesn't know where his aunt's going. He's rolling around. He's really, really annoyed.
Yeah, calling out for his mum. We then cut to a detective finding Voronov's body.
Yeah, that shot is so bad. It reminded me of back to my days when I was like a film school teacher and like seeing high school kids productions, because it's in one shot, right?
Yeah,
where this detective pulls over like a white bloodied sheet. So it's sort of from, I guess, the aunt's body's point of view, and he's just like, look at this, like, oh, it's just a street slut, like, and just he's just rambling about how, like, you know, what a shit person she is for ages.
No one's gonna miss her, no one's gonna care.
It's just some street slut. Why the hell they bother me with this? Nobody will miss her, nobody cares.
And it just goes for ages, all in just one shot. That's it.
It's so dumb.
Oh, awful.
So then we come back to the rooftop. So the guy in a wheelchair is on a rooftop, rolling around. How did he even fucking get there?
I did wonder that. How did he get up there?
And he bumps into the Siamese twins that raped his mum,
which I thought was going to be a thing
many years ago. Yeah.
I thought this was going to be a revenge kind of thing on these Siamese twins, but that does not play into the film whatsoever.
No,
they're just there.
They're just there. So he was reunited with his mum's rapists. Didn't need to be. There's no point to it in this story. There was no reason for them to be Siamese twins in the first place. That is so much pointless shit in this film. And they're like, "What do you want?" And he's like this fucking angry, dude. And he's like, "An audience with the king." For some reason, it doesn't make any sense. And they're like, "Follow us." And like, why? And this is where Eugene meets the king of the bums.
And this guy is, I don't want to spoil something, but the actor that plays this role gives both my favorite performance in the film and my least favorite performance, because he plays 2 roles. But this is his first role as the king of the bums, and this is genuinely quite funny, his performance as this character. He's sort of doing, so this king of the bums, he's kind of doing it as like this, hey, forget about it kind of king, and he's hamming it up like crazy. And for a lot of it, he literally is like cracking jokes and looking at the camera like, oh, can you believe this? It is so funny. And honestly, nothing cracks me up more than that kind of bad, fake Italian accent kind of thing. And this guy just, is mugging it up so hard. And he's clearly loving this character. Like, he's loving doing it. It's super
he's
funny.
having the time of his life.
He is the best thing in this film.
So he basically runs the world of underground bum shenanigans, and people come to him for advice or to help, to help whatever problems they may have. But he's kind of this guy who's always angry. He's always like flicking back and forth, laughing his ass off and getting really like intensely angry.
Kiss my ring.
Yeah, it's like, kiss the ring, you fuck!
Yeah.
What can I do for you this fine evening?
Yeah. It's just very schizophrenic.
Yeah. And Eugene's like, I can't find my mother. He's like, you come to me, ask me for a favor, you fuck. He's like, but I'll help you. Come back tomorrow. I just come back tomorrow.
He's also like, he's really angry that Eugene hasn't paid a tribute. He often says he hasn't paid any money. I think, is it also this scene, Eugene's like, everyone calls me a crip as well.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
So like, it is great because Eugene asks for his help and he's like, right, I will, but remember, you owe me, you rolling, twitching fuck. Come back tomorrow. And he sends some of his like bum guys,
lackeys,
to go and like find something about his mum, and Eugene kind of like twitches and rolls off and immediately rolls back onto screen.
I was gonna say that it's so. This is how shoddy this film is.
Yeah.
Just we have him like, all right, we'll go find something out. So you would expect to then see them going to find out what happened, something in between, but no. It's just back to... It's like watching a play. Yeah. Like the lights go down, they come back on, and Eugene rolls back in again.
If no time has passed whatsoever. When I first watched it, I initially thought he was coming back to light. He's like, I forgot to say something. Isn't it because there's no like change in lighting or anything? It's still nighttime. It's still exact same. The camera doesn't even move, I swear to God. It just kind of rolls back into screen. He's like, any news of my mother? And this guy, man, he just says so much shit. Like, I tried to like make like some kind of coherence out of it all, but he's like, easy for you to say, ha ha ha. Well, let me think. At this point, I was like, it's really, really painful to watch his performance. It's funny at first, but the Kings, it's funny at first, but it just goes on for so long.
It's a lot.
It's too much to take in. And he's like, well, let me think, Stutterman. And he's like, just kidding. I like you, little piece of shit. Well, anyway, your mum was raped and murdered. You can find what's left of her on a slab in the city morgue. Like, and that's his
very, very blunt delivery.
Halfway through, like joking and playing around with the crip again, and then like fucking Yuji just starts like twitching, like at the news of his mother's death, just freaking out. And the king of the bums, he wants his payment. He's like, you got my money, you twitching. Fuck, get the fuck out of here. You owe me. Really angry, still laughing, kind of maniacally.
Yeah, it's good to be the king, am I right?
He's having fun in this role, though.
The whole thing is just the like static camera on a tripod.
Yeah,
like, I think pretty much every scene, bar a couple of like close-ups, is just like one static camera shot.
It's not a very dynamic movie.
No.
It's
two directors.
Yeah, two directors for this. Like, come on.
Yeah. So then we get Eugene back on the roof. This time talking directly to the camera, face on, twitching away. And he's, I'm all alone in this world. And then he's angry. And I kind of really believe his anger in this. Like, his deliverance is quite amazing, I thought. But he's like, God help the next normal that fucks with me. And so he calls everyone else the normals. And this starts his killing rampage of normals, aka non-disabled people.
Yeah, then we cut to his first murder, which is pretty funny. So we cut to like a 24-hour gym, and there's a big tough man, big bold tough man, working out, and Eugene comes. This was very funny. This actually made me laugh quite a lot. So Eugene comes into the gym, and instantly this tough guy is like, what the fuck are you doing here? Lifts him out of the wheelchair, takes him outside, and tosses him out onto the street and puts his wheelchair in the trash. Just so harsh, so unnecessary.
I know.
And then this guy, like, he's digging out the wheelchair from the trash. This other guy just shows up. And Eugene's like, no, please don't, please. Like, I need that wheelchair. And this guy that's digging him out, his name is Donald. And this is, I think this is one of the directors, right, playing this role. Yeah, because I think I saw that in the end credits. And this character, Donald, is, probably my third favorite thing about the film. So Warrenov, number one, The King, number two. But this guy his performance is shit, but the character's quite funny. So he's this guy from Tennessee, and he describes himself as the Fellini of horror pictures in Tennessee.
Oh, I'm Donald, and I come here from Tennessee. You know, I used to be a motion picture director. I was the Fellini of horror pictures in Tennessee.
Just a weird kind of reference. Is this like a tribute to Donald Farmer?
It's a dig at Donald Farmer.
It's a dig on him.
So like I said, he's played by director Gary J. Levinson, and he says, I used to be the motion picture director. I was the Fellini of horror pictures in Tennessee, and his name is Donald. Yeah,
right.
And yeah, it's a direct dig at Donald Farmer, and who was the guy who introduced the two directors. And there is a reason for that dig.
Okay. Are we going to find out now? Later? Okay. Oh, damn.
But his whole... It's crazy, this director playing that fucking ridiculous character.
Oh, it's so funny.
He was like, I was a motion picture director. Like, they made him fucking mentally handicapped.
Yeah.
They made him mentally handicapped movie director character and called him Donald based on the guy who introduced the two directors.
Oh, that adds an extra layer of hilarity to it. Yeah, like this character, like the guy playing the role, who is the director of this film, he's like this big meaty kind of guy, right? Like this big bald meaty dude. Yeah, the way he delivers lines is like this, like, oh gee whiz, like kind of really dumb kind of voice sort of delivery. So yeah, it's pretty funny. Yeah, Eugene meets this Donald guy. Donald, puts Eugene back in the wheelchair, and Eugene's like, oh, we should be a team. Like, we should team up. You can push me around, and, you know, I can get my revenge on the normals. So they go back into the gym, and, Donald, again, we don't really see it, but we see that big tough guy, and Donald picks up a weight, and I guess we assume that he kills the tough guy, who sort of screams as the weight's coming down, but then the footage goes into this black and white kind of footage, and we don't actually see the death.
We don't see anything.
We don't see anything in this film, really, at all, until we get a bit further later, But I do love Eugene's reaction afterwards, is like, oh, that was great. He's like so pumped, and he's like, did you see that fucking pimple head burst?
He's fucking high on life. He's like, yeah, we kicked ass. And he's like, you and me, we're going to team up and we're going to kill all the fucking normals. We cut to the most ridiculous TV personality here on.
I fucking hated this thing in the films, that we constantly get these shit cutaways to like news segments. Oh, God, yes. What's his name? Tony Sky?
Yeah. Played by Dick O'Neill.
Who is that?
He is probably the only, besides of course Warrenoff, the guy who's actually made a name for himself. Oh, so he's been in Psych, Two Broke Girls, Drake and Josh.
Really?
Been in a lot of TV shows. Yeah. And then there's the female co-host of his like new segment, played by Wendy Spar, who was in Dinosaur Island. Don't know if you've seen that.
I know the title, but I haven't seen that.
Which also stars Michelle Bauer.
Right, okay.
So there's another connection there. So we have, like you said, this ridiculous TV show, and they're kind of cutting to these like, is it like Fox Pop interviews on the streets with like, what do you think about the bum crisis? Like, you know. And you got this woman who's like, kill them all, burn them, execute them, kill all the bums. And the whole film is just like saying how terrible all the homeless people are, and then the homeless people saying about how terrible all the people with the money are, and this like constant battle, which is just runs through the entirety of this film. That's kind of briefly touched upon in this thing. We do come back to it later, but we get a more important broadcast, which is Michelle Novak is in town to promote her new swimsuit lineup. And
supermodel Michelle Novak.
Yeah. The duo, Donald and Eugene, pass by a room and somehow see this broadcast. We don't really know how they watch this TV broadcast. And Eugene's fucking raging. He's like, oh, that slut Michelle Novak. I hate her. Why is she beautiful? Why doesn't she have a Twitch? And he's like, that pisses me off. We need to fucking make her pay.
He's angry because she can use her legs
Yeah.
as well, right?
And Donald's like, do I get to do nasty things to her?
God.
And then, oh, my God. Do you remember what they say after this? Talking about Jeffrey Dahmer's new cookbook and shit.
So that's the other kind of running joke, if you can call it a joke, that we see a couple of times where the newscasters are talking about serial killers. It's like such a lame little bit of satire, isn't it? It's like, oh, Jeffrey Dahmer's got a new book out, and we're going to be interviewing him later on. And I think later on it's like John Wayne Gacy is being released from prison and is opening up an orphanage or something like that.
It's, like, it's so dumb.
Shut up.
It's
up, movie.
Really stupid.
But you can tell they're like, oh, this is some fucking funny satire we've got here, boys. This is good. We got it.
They're gonna love it. They're gonna love it. They're gonna eat it up. The Jeffrey Dahmer cookbook. Can you believe it?
They're gonna be rolling in the aisles.
John Wayne Gacy's gonna open an orphanage, or he says he loves kids' parties.
Oh, mate, fucking comedy gold. Call up SNL. Call up Lorne Michaels.
It's a bit edgy humor there.
Yeah, too bad this is 1992 and not 2005.
Cut to another completely ridiculous and pointless scene of just a woman twitching and talking about, like, she wants to get drugs and talking about food stamps and
the fuck was that? There's so much shit in this film where it's like, what is this crap? I guess they needed to extend the running time, but yeah, like this sort of junky woman rambling about yogurt and twitching.
Yeah. I did enjoy one part of this scene, though, because she's talking to Eugene, and she's like, hey, how are you? And he's like, better, except for the fucking twitch. He's there in his wheelchair, just fucking convulsing.
How have you been?
Better! Except for this fucking twitch!
So then some random woman comes along, like, out of nowhere. And Eugene's, like, sitting at the table, and she's like, hey, what are you looking for, Gimp? And he's like, I'm looking for a knife. It's just, how about this? It just pulls out this knife. Like, gives this clearly mentally unstable dude who's, like, twitching, and it's like, gives him a knife. And she's like, what are you going to do with it? And he's like, well, I'm gonna cut you. And then we get this weird shot where he kind of leans in, and we see him lean in and go to cut her, and we cut directly to her bloody aftermath on the table. Blood's, like, dripping down onto the floor. We don't see anything, but this is the first blood that we see in the movie.
It's a ridiculous scene. Yeah, look, I feel bad for being so mean to a film with clearly no budget, but this scene is like a prime example of how little filmmaking skill anyone involved in this had, because as you said, it's like you don't really know what happens. It's just like, oh, we're leaning forward and then she's just dead and there's blood everywhere. Like there's either no thought or no skill behind this. I don't know.
It seems to be both. Like, I don't know. Like, the half-arsedness of this whole production, like, we saw, like, just the static tripod camera shot and people, like, walking off the shot and then walking back in, and they're like, oh yeah, 12 hours has passed, you know? Like, it seems to be just no fucks given.
There's a half-arsedness, but there's also, like, it's weirdly unique in, like, the way that people talk and a lot of the jokes. Not so much the edgelord stuff, but just the stranger stuff in this makes me think that they did care about this,
right?
But they just didn't know how to put it together. I don't know. It's I just don't know.
Right.
It's so weird.
I guess that is the kind of the charm of these, like, shot on video horror movies, because it's just, I guess there's no rules. Everyone just loves the shittier they are, the better. And this is,
but this was too shitty for me.
Too
like,
shitty.
Like, I guess these guys didn't like Donald Farmer that much, but like Donald Farmer films are way better put together than this.
Oh yeah.
The scene that happens next made me so angry, and I actually timed it.
Oh, you did?
So
I was curious at how long it went on for.
So what happens in this next scene, Michelle Bauer, she's playing Michelle Novak, the supermodel, right? She's just in a hotel room, I guess, and walking about. She puts on some utterly shit music. Some of the worst, like, it's barely music. I don't even know how to describe it, but it's fucking awful.
Yeah.
And she just kind of dances about in this sort of half-assed kind of way. She strips down to her lingerie, starts kind of doing weird aerobics.
Yeah.
And it just goes for fucking ages. And there's all these like cross dissolves and like she's like thrusting her crotch in the air. And like
It's so
there's like also there's a bit towards the end where, like the song stops and she just has a drink and it's just silent. But so this whole scene of her fucking dancing around, thrusting her crotch about, this scene was 5 minutes long. Wow. And let's point out that this film is a 70-minute movie. So this scene is 7% of this fucking film was that scene of her dancing about, and it was honestly torture to watch that scene. I was so angry watching it.
Was the 5 minutes, did it stop there? Because I feel like that shit starts again soon after.
Oh yeah, there's another bit that I timed. That's a bit
wow.
later. Yeah.
Okay. So she's done her long-ass aerobic scene. The duo roll up to her hotel room. I don't know how they know where she lives, but Donald busts the door in. At this point, Michelle is now in the bath, and we have another long scene of her just washing her body.
I didn't time this bit, but it was quite a few minutes. And that it also, like, because it's so shitfully put together, time makes no sense in this. So it might sound like you're saying the scenes out of order, but you're not. You're actually saying them correctly. So Donald and Eugene bust in.
Yeah.
Then we cut to her in the bathtub for ages before anything happens between them, which is ridiculous. But that scene of her in the bathtub as well, it's so long and it's really unerotic as well. Like it's like
lunges, it's just lunges. It's like gross lunges in this shitty motel.
And just like the video camera just like zooming in sadly. There's just something really grim about it. Oh god, I that was so shit. This whole bit was terrible.
But then we get the best line ever.
You might have to remind me what it is.
So she comes out the bath and she's like, "Who the hell are you?" And Eugene's there and she goes, "I'm your worst nightmare." And Donald goes, "And I'm Donald."
Yes.
I'm your worst nightmare.
You know, Donald.
That is fucking funny. And also before that line as well, like, so Eugene and Donald are watching her in the bath. Yeah. Did you notice that Donald is drooling?
Yes!
Like, full-blown drool hanging out. And I must admit, that was quite funny. Like, that's a pretty great attention to detail. But, oh man, you're so right. That delivery of, "And I'm Donald."
I was not expecting that. I did not. I think that's genius writing.
That was...
Because they kind of, like, wrote him as this, like, mentally disabled guy. I'm your worst nightmare, and I'm Donald. I wonder if Donald, what's his fucking name?
Donald Farmer
has seen this.
Oh, surely he has, yeah. But that was probably, in the whole film, maybe the one bit of genuinely great comic timing. That was genuinely very funny.
So Michelle Bauer, or Novak, her character, she tries to run for it. They stop her. Donald's like, "Can I do nasty things to her?"
He like pins her up against the wall, right?
Yeah.
She's like, "I do it with men, not apes. Why don't you get yourself a rubber doll?"
And Eugene's like, "No, I want her dead, not fucked." And he kind of gets angry at Donald now because Donald just wants to rape her, right? Yeah. So he somehow jumps out of his wheelchair. Yeah. Like, how does he do that? He's kind of hanging off Donald's neck, kind of strangling him. Yeah. And then he's like to Michelle, "Hey lady, you want to help me over here?"
That was actually quite funny. So he basically gets her help in taking care of Donald.
So Donald falls back. Eugene's kind of pinned under Donald, strangling him. Michelle's on top, strangling him. Donald's just like getting strangled by both parties. And Michelle's like kind of crying as she strangles him. It's a pretty good shot. I thought that was a pretty good shot. I mean, there wasn't...
Within a terrible film, like one of the better shots.
She ends up killing him. And then Eugene is like, "You stupid bitch, it's all your fault."
It's like he asked for help.
Right? Like, what the fuck? He's clearly mentally unstable. And he crawls, he crawls back into the wheelchair. She runs to the bathroom, locks herself in, and then we just cut to him wheeling himself away.
Yeah, he's got like the knife in his mouth, and he's got some blood on him, right? Yeah. And then we're just back to that bathtub, and she's like gutted. Like, not as in, like, sad. As in, she's literally... her entrails are hanging out and she's all bloodied up and dead.
It's a pretty good gore shot, actually.
It is, but also it is quite a weird thing to just not have the murder scene in there.
So we don't ever see the murder, but we see the aftermath. And again, it's like very, very badly filmed. It's like just some guy. It's just like some guy with a camera, just kind of like waving it around, just trying to like film whatever he can get.
It's very. It has that feeling of it, right? It's like, come on, guys, we got to get this done.
Yeah.
Like, we got 2 days to film this movie. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
I have a lot of questions about the next scene.
The next scene, Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
That's just another one of those mad scenes.
What's going on here?
Like, it's a completely pointless scene.
But we have Eugene's back on the rooftop again, and he's complaining about things being annoying if you're in a wheelchair, right?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you got stairs, you got this, you got that. And it's like, yeah, but you got up on this rooftop, so
How did he even get there?
I don't know. But then this next part, I just didn't understand this at all. And I was wondering if I missed something in the story, but we just cut to a guy going down some stairs. But was it Eugene? The actor looks like Eugene, but I don't know if it was.
No,
it wasn't him.
no.
But anyway, so a random guy going down some stairs, and he's freaking out that like things are on him. He's like, oh, get him off me, get him off me.
He's like a tweaker. He's like clearly high.
Yeah, going all nuts. And there's all these weird, kind of these shitty video effects again.
Yeah.
And then he chops his own hand off. He like cuts his hand. He's like, ah, get him off me. And he cuts his hand off. And then that's it.
And that's it.
The fuck was that?
I feel like you're also making it sound better than it is.
Yeah,
you don't see him cut his hand off.
No,
we cut to a video filter, and then the next shot is just a stump.
Yeah.
But it's just this random shot of this guy just tweaking out and be like, get him off me, get him off me, I need to get him off me. Next scene is him with no arm.
What was that scene?
No context whatsoever.
Flipping
Don't know who it is, don't know what he's taken. There's no after effects of it. It's just pointless. Filler. But not even good filler. It's not even good filler.
It's not even really filler. It's just like, I don't even know what that is.
And the next scene as well, it's also kind of filler. You get like a couple walk in, and they just walk in forever, and they go into an elevator.
They're like a bit drunk, right?
Yeah.
They're like stumbling about.
Go into an elevator, start fucking. The guy says the girl's name wrong. She gets angry.
I also, like, for that bit, I'm like, did he say it wrong? I mean, I couldn't hear the dialogue. So a lot of this film, I couldn't understand what people were saying, and I couldn't catch the words. But yeah, I guess he calls her the wrong name. She runs off.
And then we cut to her dead with an axe in her chest.
Yeah.
But it's like the actress just kind of holding it up against her chest, just staring at the camera, like holding it in place so it doesn't fall over.
So were they victims of
I guess Eugene, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, but no context. And we don't see anything. We don't even see Eugene in this shot.
No.
Like, he's not even there.
It was like they finished the film and they're like, it's like 60 minutes. We need like another 10 minutes for us to be able to release it on video. What have you got lying around? It's like, well, I got this scene of this guy cutting off his hand. Well, not cutting it off, but we were just like...
He's probably got like a leftover prop.
Yeah. And I got this shot of this thing that I didn't finish. Like, put it in. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
No, it's another just like... There's so much like unnecessary stuff in here. But then we come back to the interviewing the people for the TV show.
The shit news
The bum
stuff.
crisis. What should we do with the bums? I thought what she said was actually quite funny. She's like, use them for scientific experiments.
Use bums. They have no reason to live anyway. And when you're done, you can grind them up and use them for pet food. It works for me.
That's what I do.
That's what I do anyway.
That's quite good.
So
yeah, we also get that stupid John Wayne Gacy joke in this bit.
And then the next scene, which is the same shit with Michelle Bauer, starring, I don't know if I can fucking say her name properly.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Hysterically.
I don't know how to say her. I always thought it was Hypatia.
Okay,
Lee,
right.
But I'm not sure.
You
But yeah,
could be, yeah.
So this is someone I recognized straight away.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, we cut to a woman dancing in her lingerie and timed this scene as well. So it's similar to the one before of Michelle Bauer. This one goes for 4 minutes. Not quite as long, but still pretty fucking long. Considering that in this 70-minute film now, so that means that almost 10 minutes, 1/7 of this film is just fucking dancing, just people dancing.
It's like, get the hot girls in, make them dance,
Oh,
and that'll give you
God.
most of your runtime.
And this was extra shit. Like, there's just no effort put into this. It's just like, there's not even any fucking aerobic stuff here.
It was bad.
But yes, this actress is
she's an adult. Actress.
she's a adult film actress from, I think, mostly like the early 80s, but I've seen a few. As soon as I saw her, I'm like, oh shit, I know who this is. She's in The Young Like It Hot, and I can't remember. There's quite a few of her films that have been released by Vinegar Syndrome though, and she's in like some good stuff as well. Like good, well, if you like porn films from the 70s and 80s, which I do, there's some really good ones. Yeah, but this is her like kind of later in her career, I guess, because this is the 90s, right?
Yeah. Jesus, she took a sad turn for the worst, didn't she?
Did she? What do you mean?
Well, if she was in these great films in the 70s.
Oh, right.
And then in this in the 90s. Fucking hell.
Yeah, that's true.
Jeez. So, yeah, you got this long-ass dance scene. And then they do the whole, like, psycho thing. She's in the shower. Eugene, apparently, though I don't think we see him, kind of approaches with an axe. Yeah. And they do the whole kind of... Do we actually see the death in this?
No, I think it's just the aftermath again.
But yeah, I guess lots of slow-mo, weird filters. Really insane zooms on just her mouth that linger for like minutes at a time as she just sits in this bloody bathtub. Gotta get that runtime in. Gotta get that runtime. And then Eugene's there, another fucking weird talking to the camera. This time though, there's strobes. So he's doing the whole thing like, what the fuck, they're all against me. I fucking hate them, the nightmares. But it's where there's strobes in this black setting. You get the white flashes. And I think it's kind of it's extremely cheap, but also an effective way that kind of shows the progress of his madness.
They're at least trying something.
They're trying.
Yeah.
I like that.
There's not many attempts at trying anything in this. So
No.
It is nice to see them giving something a go.
There are like very few examples, but when they are there, like when they actually try to do something, I kind of find them effective in their bizarre own way. So then we go back to our favorite rooftop, where I swear like 70%, if not more, of this film is filmed. And we get two awesome actresses.
Yeah,
you know one of them though, right?
I recognize them, but I didn't look up who it was. Who are they?
So we get two girls, and they're like beating the shit out of some dude. One of them played by Elizabeth Caton. She's in a few of the Friday the 13th sequels.
Yeah.
She's in Twins.
Okay.
Silent Night, Deadly Night. And then the other one, Tamara Souza, who was in Attack of the Killer Bimbos, which is another film that pops up among some of the other cast members. And another film which I've never seen, but I think you probably have, and it's The Nightmare Begins in 93 by Tobe Hooper.
No, I've not seen that one.
I didn't know this film existed.
No, I don't know that one.
But I don't know if it's like an unofficial Nightmare on Elm Street sequel, but it's directed by Tobe Hooper and Mick Garris, and it's came out in 93, and apparently it's like Freddy was cleared of all his charges.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What the fuck is this from? I've never heard of this.
Me neither.
What?
It's called The Nightmare Begins. It sounds... I was like, wait, what the hell is this? Get this. When Fred Krueger is set free on a technicality, the parents of the children he murdered take matters into their own hands, while a high school track star, haunted by her mother's untimely death, receives her mother's amulet that unlocks her ambitions and unleashes vengeance on those who causes her pain.
What?
Like, doesn't that just sound fucking bizarre? But the fucking poster is Nightmare on Elm Street. You got Freddy Krueger in his role. It's a Freddy Nightmares episode, I think.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
but it's 90 minutes.
What?
And it's Robert Englund in his role.
Well, he was in that. He was in the show, right? I've never actually watched that show.
I never watched it. No.
Always wanted to.
But she's in it.
There you go. Wait, so sorry, that was not the one that's in the Friday the 13th sequel. That's the other actress.
That's the other actress. So that's Elizabeth Caton.
So Elizabeth Caton, she's in the original Silent Night, Deadly Night?
No, she was in part 2, and she was in Friday the 13th, 7, New Blood. She was in.
I remember her from part 7.
So yeah, do you want to talk about this scene where these two girls are beating the shit out of this guy?
Yeah, they're really great in this scene. They're just beating the shit out of this like kind of pathetic, cucked looking man. Really enjoyed that. One of them pulls out a knife. She's about to kill this guy. And then Eugene fucking wheels over and it interrupts. And I love the line, I don't know which one it is. Maybe it's Elizabeth Caton. Is she the blonde one? Elizabeth Caton?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like...
I'm about to waste this cheap fuck. What's it to you?
And yeah, Eugene claims in this scene that he doesn't like violence.
Yeah, what's that about?
And is trying to stop this murder. And the women, they're like, oh, we're going to slice you up. We think they're about to attack Eugene. But then, like, they're like, you know what? You got an overload of guts. I like you. And they kind of build a kind of friendship here.
Yeah.
And then one of them says, like, he's got a wheelchair and an attitude. He's a Hellroller. So we get the line, like, the title of the film in this line.
Ain't you gonna stick him? Hell no. He's got a wheelchair and an attitude. He's like a real hell roller, ain't you, Crep?
I told you about that Crip shit.
And yeah, they introduce themselves. So we've got Lizzie and Bunny, right? And yeah, Lizzie kisses Eugene and they walk off. And Eugene is like, fuck, this is great. He's like delighted about, you know, this kiss and meeting these women. And he's like, oh, I love her, I love her. And then it just goes a bit nuts.
That's it. Again, like fucking sudden change where all these weird video filters just start pouring in. He starts twitching. He gets this weird fucking psychotic hallucination of the two girls that literally just walked off screen are now bullying him, calling him names, like saying he's a Crip. And
yeah, what's cooking, Crip?
yeah, and he said, oh, fuck you, I thought we were friends. Then he snaps out of it. And suddenly, he's there holding a giant wooden stick. And then, suddenly, the girls are all back on screen. But the thing he says before that, he's like, I'm going to fucking wait for them. I'm going to wait for them. I know they come here. I'll wait for as long as it takes. And now they're back. Again, it was another fucking walk off camera, walk back on camera
It's
type
impossible to know if there was supposed to be time, like, between there or not, but... Yeah, he's got this giant stick, and he skewers them.
Yeah.
On this pole stick kind of thing that he's got. And then I love the shot after this. Like, he kills them, and then he just starts freaking out, and he starts spinning around in his chair.
Yeah, he's like the mob, like spinning around.
Fucking...
Oh, I loved it.
Ridiculous. The bit after this is where I started to... like, my patience was really wearing thin at this point. Eugene's, like, looking in the yellow pages for mad doctors. He wants to find a mad doctor. Already at this point, I'm like, oh, fuck this film. I hate this shit. And so he goes to see a mad doctor, and he wants a potion to turn normal people into freaks.
Yeah.
And the guy playing the mad doctor is the same actor that plays the King of the Bums. But this role, I don't know what it was, but I've never wanted to punch a character so much as in this scene. This mad doctor character is the same level of mugging that he's doing for the King of the Bums, but it just doesn't work here. It's just so irritating. It's like, imagine like a bargain bin, you know, Jerry Lewis kind of thing. It's so irritating. So annoying. And again, we get this stupid shit of people going off and then coming back. So Eugene's like, all right, I'll pay $22. And the mad doctor's like, all right, I'll have it for you tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, I'll be back. And he looks at the camera.
He does the fucking line, looks at the camera.
Yeah,
he does the Arnie line.
He goes, I'll be back, looking at the camera.
What's
and
that
then
about?
We cut to the next day, but it's the same shot.
He doesn't even leave the room.
Yeah, it's just the same shot, and he's just there for the potion. It's like, why didn't he just buy it on the fucking spot? Why did you have to make it the next day? My notes here, it just says, fuck, this movie sucks, all in capitals. Oh, fuck.
I love it.
I hated that doctor character so much as well.
I kind of liked it.
Oh, fuck, dude. He was so irritating. And, like, after he gets the potion, Eugene leaves, and we just stay on the doctor for fucking ages as he's like hamming it up, like,
Oh, the bum!
oh god,
So the conditions of the potion is that it has to be mixed with water for it to have any effect. But as the doctor says, not just any water, but that bottled water that the stupid people buy. And when they drink it, it will retard their cultural development.
Oh dear.
And they will start to look and smell like a bum. And they won't be able to go a second without saying, hey buddy, you got a quarter? And they won't be able to walk past a cigarette butt without picking it up. So I've made some bum turning potion.
Oh boy.
Cut to. And this is actually probably one of the greatest scenes ever.
Is it?
It fucking is. It's so funny.
The red light district.
Yeah, yeah.
I was baffled by this. Maybe you can explain what fucking happens in this.
I don't know if I can explain it, but we cut to like some nudie bar and there's a hooker, and the hooker is played by a Lucia Mortato. She's been on... She was in The Voice of the Moon.
I don't know what that is.
By Federico Fellini. And,
what? Wait, what?
Yeah.
No. What?
Yeah. But looking at her, like, IMDb, she basically plays a lot of dancers and hookers, and is mostly left uncredited. She's like you said, you have the go-to gun guy. She seems to be like the go-to hooker.
What was it called? Voices from the Moon?
The Voice of the Moon, 1990. Apparently she played a dancer in that.
I gotta say, this is a Fellini film I've never heard of.
Right.
So, like, pretty damn late in his career. I think he died, like, a couple of years after that.
Oh, right. Well, at least you got to work with the amazing Lucia Mortato.
Yeah, it would have been
of Hellroller fame.
A highlight of his career.
So we get the greatest stuff. So basically, Eugene, although we never see Eugene, so he was clearly not there when they filmed this, he has picked up a prostitute, brought her home. She's on the sofa doing this, like, fucking sexy rolling around dance shit. And out of nowhere, from outside of the fucking frame, a hot iron, some guy holding a hot iron, comes in and just starts burning her.
Well, that's what I was confused, because, like, there's no Eugene in
He's not even fucking
so
there.
I didn't understand that this was supposed to be him doing that.
Oh, it must be. He's on a rampage.
I was just baffled by that whole sequence.
And you get this great shot, just a man holding an iron off fucking camera, coming in and putting it on her naked body, burning her, while this, like, fucking sexy jazz music plays, and she's just screaming. Oh, mate, this actually cracked me up. And it was kind of like, it was almost like Blood's Diner levels of ridiculousness.
Yeah. It was very, very silly.
Oh,
yeah.
Loved it. And there's more of him rambling to the camera, and then we go to the water purification center.
Before that, there was one of the funniest cutaways I've seen in some time. Just between Eugene ranting about the nightmares and then the poisoning the water, there's just a shot of one of those, like, street performers that, like, throw the fire sticks.
Oh, God.
I'm just like, what the fuck is this? And it was clearly just, like, a piece of, like, random footage that they just filmed, like, a street performer.
I feel like that's a thing, isn't it? And it's a thing that reeks of amateur filmmaking. And I see it so many times in, like, indie horror films where someone will just see something and they'll film it and then just put it in because it's, like, I don't know, it seems a little bit artistic or something. Yeah. And you get a lot of, like, just, like, spiders crawling along the floor. So it's like, film the fucking spider going across. We'll put it in. It's creepy.
Get the fire guy flipping the fire things.
Yeah. You get those weird, like just like shots of pigeons and shit, like where people just find something, film it, put it in their movie. And that was a great example of this. So anyway, we get this water purification center scene where he somehow adds the potion into the machine. We never see anything.
Yeah.
But then you must have loved this next scene.
I did love this. We've got this, like, posh rich guy drinking his water, right? Yeah. That's been poisoned. And he drinks, he's like, delicious.
He loves it.
Delicious. Simply delicious. Too bad everybody can't afford this delicious water. Common peasants. Can only afford tap water. Poor common bastards that they are.
And then after that, so he's drinking this poison water, he starts turning into a bum. But like the version of the bum is like this Cockney kind of bum. He's like full Cockney bum.
What's happened to me? Oh, I've become a bum. God blimey. Ah!
God blimey! What's happened? I've become a bum!
Oh, it's so
like,
good.
when he said core blimey, like, it was perfect. I absolutely loved it. And played by Douglas Dunning from Cannibal Hookers.
There you
Once
go.
again.
The whole cast of that.
Cage
isn't it?
Fury, he was in that as well.
So then it's become like a epidemic, right? With all these people turning into bums, in the film's words. Yeah, the news guy, I've forgotten his name, Tony Sky, whatever it was. He's on screen, like, talking about it. Then he drinks water, turns into a bum as well. The female reporter turns into a bum too. And it's ridiculous. Like, it's so... like,
I fucking loved it.
Crass over the top.
I loved it. It was so good.
I hated it.
Potion has people into bums.
It's awful.
And you got Tony Sky, he's like coming up to the camera, he's like, oh, you got a quarter. It's so ridiculous. And there is not any film like this. Oh, come on, it's so good. And then the girl drinks it as well, the female co-host, and then she becomes a bum as well. They're just like coming up to the camera, running around the studio looking for change. Oh man, I was cracking up.
I was not cracking up.
I was loving it.
I cracked up at the English man, but that was extremely stupid and funny.
Yeah.
But as it went on, I'm like, oh, please let this movie end. Please let this end. Oh god.
So anyway, the Bum King has gotten word that that Eugene is out killing normals, and he's not happy for some reason.
Yeah, why? I don't know.
The Siamese rapists are there from the start, so he sends the goons to go and get Eugene. We cut back to Eugene. He's all angry, as he always is, rummaging through this garbage, and he's going on one of his many rants, saying things still really relative to this time. You know, he's saying like these idiots, they're throwing away their food, they're throwing away these clothes, and you know, and he's cold and he's hungry, and he just keeps talking about how stupid everyone is.
Idiots. They throw out their food, they throw out their clothes. Idiots.
You know, but obviously he's suffering, he's cold, he's hungry, he's alone. You get all the rich, normal people who have all these luxurious things. They're throwing them all away. And, you know, which is, you can say the same thing now. It's still very much a thing. It can still be said. Which is why I kind of love this film. Because it has that underlining message, which is still so relevant. You really don't agree with me. You're just like...
Yeah, I think it's like... It's trying to do that, but it doesn't get there.
I would argue with you with that. I think he does. I mean, don't get me wrong, this film is trash.
I think,
but his performance sells it.
I agree that he does a very good job at selling what is an absolutely dog shit film and horribly written film.
So somehow the bum goons catch up to him, bring him back to the Bum King, and apparently there's a punishment for killing normals. So apparently, I mean, killing people that's not apparently, that's a thing. But apparently, according to the Bum King, you can't kill normals. And they sentence Eugene to death. But apparently, he's a fair king, so he gives him a 5-minute head start. Then we cut back.
Yeah,
this is the most confusing cut.
So many moments.
We
like
cut
this is
back
the worst
to
one.
Eugene rolling up towards the Bum King again. So I think they met in a different place.
Yeah.
Like he bumped into him, but it's still on the same rooftop.
I really didn't. I was so confused by that.
And the Bum King wants his money. Eugene drops some money on the floor, and as the Bum King goes to pick it up, Eugene kind of grabs him and then rips out his eyes with his bare hands. And that's actually pretty great. It's like one of the very few bloody shots in this.
This end part is like the kind of few effects that we have, right?
Yeah.
So he rips the eyes out, and then he rolls about, and then the king's lackeys attack him at this point, and they carry him off.
Yeah.
He's like screaming like crazy, and then we get a very harsh cut. That's quite amazing. This final cut of just Eugene's head.
Yeah.
Just in a garbage bin.
The garbage bin, fucking hell.
It's real harsh.
And that's it, that's the end.
And then the credits just roll. Yeah.
But that probably one of the most baffling things for me is that last shot of his severed head in the trash can, because they would have had to take a mold for that, right? That's actually the actor's head.
I was confused by that, because, like, you would have thought it would just be the actor, you know, with using his real head, and they put some makeup around the neck.
Sure.
But it looked like, you know, they'd made a mold of the head, and it was a fake head, which is quite expensive to do. Yeah, that's... Yeah, and just for that shot.
Which is insane.
Just for that. Yeah. Very weird. Like, they didn't even use it in, like, a death scene or anything.
Yeah.
What a waste.
That's a good point. And that's it. That is Hellroller.
Yes. That is Hellroller.
Loved it. You know what? I had a great time watching this. I mean, don't get me wrong, absolute trash. But it's that fine level of trash.
I think it's like it's definitely... There's no other film like this, I will say that. That's true. That there's nothing else like this, and it's very, very not entertaining, but it's fascinating to watch because it's just so bizarre and how this came about. Like it's just kind of bonkers to me.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, there were many times watching this where I was just looking at the running time, waiting for it to end.
Please, when will it end?
Yeah.
Would this be like your most hated film that I've shown you for this podcast?
No.
Would that go to Worm Eaters?
Yeah, Worm Eaters I absolutely despised. This film is a weird one where it's like in between love and hate, where I really loved parts about watching it, and then there were also scenes where I'm like, oh my fucking god, like the dance bits where it's like, come on.
Christ, yeah.
And this was just, it was really fascinating to watch just because it is so bizarre, so strange. So have you got more your tid or tit bits,
I have
as you call them?
some titty bits here. So yeah, this was released in 92, right? So if we go back to 89, Stuart Wall was working with our beloved Donald Farmer, and they were working on a book together called Invasion of the Scream Queens. Because they made this book, they essentially had the connections and contacts with plenty of Scream Queens.
Okay, yeah.
Hence why Michelle Bauer and all the, that lot is in this film. Apparently they tried to get Tracy Lords to get in it as well, to be in this film.
Oh my god.
That didn't happen, obviously. That's why, Michelle Bauer, Hypatia Lee, and many others also appear in this. Now, after releasing that, in the same year that this Hellroller was released, Farmer also released his movie version of Invasion of the Scream Queens. It was released just 1 month before this. Now, the person who was doing set photography on Hellroller sold the picture of Michelle Bauer to Donald Farmer. And it was the picture of Michelle Bauer in the bathtub of having all her guts ripped out. And Farmer used that as the cover picture for his documentary, Invasion of the Scream Queens.
Right.
But he didn't have the rights to it. The guy who sold it didn't have the rights to sell it. So the directors of this film took Donald Farmer to court.
Right.
They sued him for the use of this image. And it went to the People's Court, and but unfortunately they couldn't sue him. They lost the case because they didn't have any evidence of financial loss, and the judge kind of like threw it out.
Seems quite petty.
Yeah, it's difficult to really pinpoint when all of this happened because the two were kind of made in unison with each other, released within just a month of each other. But it seems to be that's where this kind of bad blood between the two parties came from. And anyway, so they lost the case. It got thrown out, and that was the end of that. Now, apparently, the co-director Stuart Wall, he at some point sold his rights to the film back to Levinson. Levinson changed the credits to make himself the sole director of the film.
Right.
So on the more recently released DVD of this, he's credited as the sole director. But in more recent news, the copyright holder of this film has died, and the film has kind of fallen back into limbo. So there's not really, we don't know what's going to happen from here on, really. But I really just think the whole court case feud between the two parties, especially the guy who introduced the two directors, ended up getting sued by one of them because it seems like everyone is connected.
Yeah.
Everyone has a connection. Everyone is in each other's movies. They produced each other's films, directed his films, Everyone knows everyone in this film. So like you said, it seems very petty, but for the guys to go and base one of the main characters on the guy who introduced them to them just sounds quite hilarious. But I've not read the book that Farmer put out, nor seen the documentary, but the documentary VHS still features the picture of Michelle Bauer in the bathtub from Hellroller on the front cover. Knockout stuff, which is probably like the greatest like special effect in this film.
But how does that work timing wise? Because they sued Donald Farmer for something that happened on the set of Hellroller, but they'd already had a character called Donald, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they already had issues with him before that. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, because time-wise, it's difficult to pinpoint. But Stuart Waller's gone on record saying that him and Leveson never really got on. And they haven't spoken for years. They thought they had opposing opinions. So I wonder if like all of them just never really got on. Stuart Wall, after this, went on to become a porn film producer, and still produces porn films to this day. So yeah, that's that. I wish I knew how Warrenoff got into this film.
I would love to know that.
Because that's the most interesting thing about this.
That's just, it's mind-blowing to see her in this. Because, you know, I've said it a few times, but I really have to stress how shit this film is. Like, how shitfully made it is. Like, it was much... I've heard about this film a lot. Like, I know this film, and it was way... The quality of it was way lower than I expected for a film that is quite well known and has quite a reputation. But yeah, pretty crazy.
So, final thoughts, Dave?
Are we going wrong-ometer time?
Or anything else you want to say? Say how much you loved it?
No, I mean, this is a film that lives in a weird space between love and hate that I can't... It's not a film that I'm... Like, Worm Eaters, I just hated that film. I hated that film. And I'll never watch that again. This film is... You know, I don't know. I don't know how to react to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just so odd. And I think it's a deeply stupid film. I do definitely think it's stupid. But it's also quite fascinating as well. Because, as you said, that main guy's performance has a level of realism to it. That his anger feels very real. Yeah. Which makes it quite interesting. But then there's just so much shitty filler, and it's such a bizarre watch. Yeah, so strange. It was not what I was expecting. Oh yeah, for a film that is so talked about, like in certain circles. But you know, I've heard a lot about this film, and I was expecting it to be a bit more normal than it is. If you know what I mean? Yeah. So it was deeply strange.
Yeah, I'm kind of in a similar boat. I was expecting something a bit more normal. The fact that the rapist was a Siamese twin guy, like two guys in the same shirt type deal, that I was like, wait, is it this stupid?
Yeah. It almost has like things like that almost feel like maybe they're going for a trauma kind of thing, but it's not quite that either. Like it's very, very odd. Very odd.
I loved it. I didn't love it. But I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was an interesting watch for sure, and I'm glad I finally got to see it because have been meaning to watch it for quite a long time.
Yeah.
How about the wrong-ometer? So how wrong the movie is, how fucked up it is, how much it shouldn't exist. What's your rating?
Me, you know what? I'm gonna go for a 9.
That's pretty high, but
I think this is pretty bloody high.
Yeah. What's your reasoning behind the 9? Do you think just because of how disjointed and strange it is?
Not only disjointed and strange, I think the people involved in this really bumps it up. And I think the way he kind of just used his contacts from the book that he made with Farmer to employ all of these kind of relatively well-known people into this production. Yet he really had no story to tell. Besides, like, they're going to have a man in a wheelchair. And just filled the whole fucking thing with dance scenes and sex scenes and then these ridiculous death scenes which we never actually see. The stupid characters, like, in balance with the genuine characters. And like you said, with the guy who played Eugene, Ron something, his performance was very genuine, and I feel like all of his rants that he was saying and his anger, it was genuine, and I really felt like what he had to say was something worth listening to. And that sometimes I felt, I'm not going to go as so far as to say moved, but I was like, yeah, he's got a fucking point. Like, he's got an actually genuine point here, and I really feel for the character. And then we cut to two people in the same shirt pretending to be Siamese twins. And the king of the bums.
Yeah.
And this ridiculous, mad scientist who made a potion to turn people into bums. Yeah. I loved it. Like, it was so all over the place, and I feel like they should never have been allowed to make a movie. Because there's nothing works in this. No. Really. Whoever supervised this, there's probably no script supervisor, but they had two directors and enough of a crew to have someone at some point say, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't do this. Or maybe we should add a bit more context. You know, it's just it's a fucking mess.
I couldn't agree with that more. And again, like, back to that sort of film student thing I was saying before, it reminds me of, like, someone who's never made a film, and you will get scenes like, oh yeah, people talk about doing something, and then the next scene is the result of that. It's like, no, you need to fucking put something in between. You need to, you know, have a flow to the film where you go to different locations. You can't just stay in the same fucking scene and cut to the next day. Yeah. Unless you're doing it in a way that you've thought about, where it's like a stylistic thing or a storytelling kind of thing. And this film feels like someone who just has never made a film and doesn't know at all how to do it. And to the point that, as you say, like, how did no one go, like, you know what? Is it weird that we don't have something in between here?
Yeah.
Like, is it weird that he leaves the shot and then comes back and it's the next day? Yeah, like, that stuff is mind-blowing. I think for my wrongometer rating, I think I'm gonna also go for a 9, actually. Because for the same reasons that you said, and also because I've never seen a film quite like this as well. It is deeply strange, and I think having the people that it has in it is just so confusing, because it is just so bottom of the fucking barrel. And then to see someone like, you know, Warrenov in this film, and, you know, she's in a lot of trashy stuff, but nothing like this. She's slumming it in this. So it is, that stuff just kind of blew my mind quite a lot. So I'm going to go for a 9 as well.
Yeah, awesome. I'd love to know why or how she ended up in this
insane
madness. So, Dave, what we got next time?
Well, on next episode, I'm considering it a sequel. So it's going to be a sequel to our episode about the murder secret. Do you remember
that was the Hong Kong one, right?
No.
Oh,
no.
Hang on.
The Italian film, The Murder Secret.
Oh, yes, yeah.
The one that you hated.
I didn't hate it.
You did. I just finished editing that episode. You hated it.
Did I say I hated it? All right, fine.
But yeah, so I'm considering it as a sequel to that one, because it's a film that's very much connected to that film. So we've already talked about this film a bit, but you haven't seen the Fulci film Touch of Death, which really excited me that you haven't seen that. So this will probably be the least obscure thing we probably ever talk about on this podcast, like a Fulci film. But yeah, next week we're going to do Touch of Death.
Awesome.
A later day, towards the end of his career, Fulci film. But do listen to the Murder Secret episode before you listen to that one, because we're going to have to skip over some details that we cover in the Murder Secret.
Interesting. I'm pumped.
Yeah, I'm very excited. And as always, follow us on Twitter on SMSW Podcast. And if you want, you can send us an email at showmesomethingwrong@gmail.com. And yeah, just do a little share.
Do a little share.
Do a little share. Do a little like. Listen to an episode a few more times than you need to, just so it bumps up the listen count. If you want, just put it on loop.
Put it on loop.
And yeah, we'll see you next time.